We ordered half a beef, half a cow's worth of beef, half a steer, and 75 pounds of ground beef. It's getting dropped off right now. Let's go get it. Barstow Country Butchering, where I got it before. It was so good, we had to do it again. We'll unload the truck. It's gonna come in boxes. Probably we'll unload it onto the counter. We'll show you guys everything we got, and then we'll walk you through stocking the fridge with it, which is gonna be, this thing was 502 pounds hanging weight, so there's gonna be a lot of beef. I think the last beef we got was like 300 pounds.
The first delivery.
Sweet.
Ever.
If you're local to Southern California, apparently this is the first delivery that Barstow Country Butchering or 5th Gen Meat Company has ever done. We are the #1 order getting delivered to the pad. Super cool. Honored to be a part of that. DJ, thank you. Thank you guys for setting all this up. I'll have to try and get you guys some information. He's probably not gonna have any information on frequency, areas, locations, anything like that, but I'll put it in the description when I find out how you can get some delivered, so you guys don't have to drive if you're not super local. So you're still working on your whole system and process and getting it all dialed in.
Big time.
All right. Let me just grab this one.
Sure, we can Awesome.
Sweet.
Where are we going?
Let's go to the front door,
Sounds good.
and then I'll just carry him inside. Sweet. Alrighty. And then yeah, I'll just grab him and pop him inside real quick. What's up, girl? I think there's a couple boxes. How many boxes are there?
There's another rack.
Okay.
There's another rack, so
This is probably the half, and then there's like 75 pounds of ground beef.
ground beef. That's
Okay.
right.
75 pounds of GB. Sweet, thank you.
You got it.
Thanks, man. Sweet. Sweet. This is super awesome. Very excited about this. This is, what would you call it? Home kill beef? It's just local, right? It was raised locally here in Southern California. This is a whole beef, and when it's not super good for steaks and stuff like that, what they'll do sometimes is they'll take the whole cow, they'll just grind it up. So that's what this is. This is an entire cow that wasn't gonna make the best cuts necessarily, that they've ground up into ground beef. That's the 75 extra pounds of ground beef. And so from the other one that all the cuts are coming from, that's what this ground beef is, and then we'll walk you through in a second once we wrap everything up. All the cuts are in these other boxes. I can see filet mignon poking out already, probably a tri-tip. We'll walk through everything we got. We'll go over cost per pound, and then contact information and stuff like that for Barstow Country Butchering, so that you can stock your freezer and always have that beef. Okay, this is what we got. 3 boxes of ground beef. I'm just gonna call it a cow. I know it's a steer, but for ease of what rolls off the tongue, we'll call it a cow. This is from this cow that all the cuts came from. This is also from this cow. This is the brisket. Now, we're simple folk. We don't make steaks all the time. We usually use the chuck roast for shredded beef, which you have seen. We use carne asada, we use ground beef. That's pretty much all we're doing for the most part. So I'm not gonna sit here and try and smoke this brisket, but what I do like every once in a while is a good burger. So this ground brisket will be great. We'll probably cut it with some of this leaner ground beef, and we'll make cheat meals with it. We'll make some awesome burgers for the kids. We'll make a double, triple, quadruple for me with some brisket. It'll be nice and juicy because it's a lot fattier. Here we have a lot of marinated carne asada. So I believe some of this is gonna be more traditional carne asada cuts, like a skirt steak, and some of it is like sirloin or like round roast that we had them just sliced thin and marinate, because we're not doing a ton with that either. Let's break into this first box. Okay, flank steak. I guess it is carne asada, but I left it unmarinated. So we've got unmarinated, and I'm gonna try and kind of organize also so we can put it in the fridge while I do this. We got an inside skirt steak. We've got a chuck roast. This, if you guys have watched this channel for a minute, you've seen probably one of my shredded beef videos. We use these chuck roasts a lot for that. I'll also use stew meat when I'm making shredded beef or a birria. We've got some ribeye steaks, but when you're having the beef cut up, you can do whatever you want. So we had fun. We left them as big ol', awesome looking tomahawks. You guys see that? Beef tomahawk steak, not for sale. It's for Taylor Thrasher. So we have, it looks like okay. I mean, it's half a cow's worth of rib cage. So we'll have to see how many total we got, but there's at least 3 tomahawks right here. Man, there's a lot of ground beef and ground brisket. I'm gonna be honest with you, kind of more than I was expecting. Babe, remind me, when we got the other beefs, there was like 3 boxes, I guess, per, right? Because we split with my parents and it was like 6 total boxes. I guess there was a box this big full of ground beef. The other 2 had cuts, right? Okay, so we're not far off. I was just like,
we never ground the brisket.
We didn't grind the brisket. You're right.
Which they're still sitting.
It was literally the brisket from the other beef is still sitting in our freezer from, I think we have 2 beefs.
I wanted to make pastrami.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can they ungrind this?
I know.
Just kidding. We literally still have a brisket, maybe from 2 other cows in our freezer. So there's plenty for pastrami. But anyways, little side. More ground brisket, more ground beef in here, but we've got filet mignon. A couple of these, they're packed 2 per pack, or it looks like maybe 3 per pack for some of these smaller ones. These ones should be 2 per pack, 2-inch fillets. Those are super good. Those are for mommy and daddy. We don't share these with the kids much, just because they don't appreciate it. Flat meat, more carne asada, unmarinated. I guess that's what I did. When they called me and asked, I left the flap, the flank, the skirt. I left all that unmarinated, and then everything else, kind of the tougher cuts, I had those marinated. More boneless stew meat. Pretty much everything else in this box is ground. In this box, ooh, okay. So we did do some ribeyes. We did some boneless ribeyes. As we're going through this, the phone call is coming back to me. We did 3 tomahawks, and I believe the rest were boneless ribeyes, just because they're easier to cook. That thing doesn't even fit on the Weber. You gotta like have the bone, I feel like, hanging off of it. But we got ribeye steaks here. We've got New York's, nice 1.5 inches. Like, that's a good solid steak right there. So ribeyes, New York's. We have a picanha. This ended up being really good. We cooked this like a tri-tip, same way you would cook a tri-tip. I did a sear and then I cooked it low and slow till it was like 130. Super rad cut of meat. I feel like it's hard to find at the store. You don't usually see that at the grocery store. Hanger steak, we lucked out. There's 1 hanger steak per cow. And so unless they split it in half and gave whoever got the other half of this cow the other half, I just remember a big monstrous animal hanging from a hook in front of a truck and this guy with shorts and boots and blood all over his legs and, you know, arms and everything was cutting this thing. He said, "This is the hanger steak that's hanging right here. There's only 1 per per beef." We probably got half of it right here. That'll be super cool to cook. What else do we got? More New York's, outside skirt steak. So there's the inside over here that I mentioned, the outside. I don't exactly know where all these come from, so that's why I'm not getting too much into that. Top sirloin steak. We're gonna have a couple of those in here. You can see two top sirloins. Those have a little bit more fat on them. These are sirloin tip steaks. These can be a little bit tough, but they're very lean, so I end up opting for those. Chuck eye steak, back ribs. You can do whatever you want. When they call you and ask how you want it cut up, there's a lot of sirloin that comes with the steak. I feel like there's a lot of chuck. Round bone, that's like a chuck. Another chuck, super good for shredded beef. Tri-tip, only 1 of these bad boys, okay? So same with the picanha. We're gonna be eating beef for a year, but we only get that once unless we wanna go buy it at the store. Short ribs, not on the menu all the time, but when it is, boy, is it good. So pretty much the whole rest of this box is the rest of the short ribs and the rest of these chuck roasts. So I would say this meat is gonna last us, what do you think, babe? Inside of a year?
For sure. 6 to 8 months.
Six to 8 months. Like if we eat beef if we did, how many?
Ground beef will be gone for sure.
The ground beef's gonna go, because we're gonna eat that every day. We don't eat cuts every single day. So everybody asks, how long does it last? Dude, it really depends. If you're using one of these a day, you're obviously gonna go through it pretty fast. We'll get, like, let's say this much out of the freezer. We'll make shredded beef for the fam, and it'll last anywhere from 1 to 3 days, depending on how much meat is in this size. Because you can see here, like, I try to cut a lot of the fat out before I cook it. That whole chunk is gonna be missing. This one doesn't have as much. So that'll last a couple days. And then a lot of other times for dinner, we're doing chicken, we're doing fish. So I would say once a week, we would use some type of cut. Once a month, we'll have filet mignon. So we try to kind of stretch it out. The ground beef is gonna go a lot faster. So I would say inside of a year, it's April 2025. Before April 2026, majority of this will be gone. Now from our last beef that we got, geez, do you remember what month that was?
It was like April or.
It was Beach House.
No, because that's when we went and did the second one.
Oh, that's why we've had
And
so
it was
much
like
beef.
2 months after that.
Yeah, okay.
Last year we technically had a full.
We got a whole cow last year because we bought one, and then a couple months later, BARSTOW Country Butchering hit me up. Hey, if you make a couple videos, we'll shoot you. They hooked me up, dude. They gave us half a beef for free. It was totally cool. Like I was saying to the guy earlier, I actually went out there. I didn't get to shoot it, but I got to skin it. I'll show you guys some clips. I can't be too gory with it because YouTube will take it down, but I have clips of me skinning it. I mean, I watched those right there when the dude cut the head off, slit the throat. He took it to the shop. They let it hang in their rocky refrigerator room for 14 days, 17 days. Then I went back up and I cut it with the butchers in the back. I cut the steaks. I was on the bandsaw, cutting the chucks. I was cutting the marrow bones on the bandsaw. They took the half and they split it from the rib cage. They split the lower part off, and the dude was like, you gotta grab it and hump it up on the table so that we can cut it. He's like, last week we had 3 bodybuilder sized dudes in here and none of them could do it. I was like, dude, pressure's on, bro, with my bad back. And they're all, oh, freaking bad back. You're already setting yourself up. I did it. I humped it right up there. But yeah, so super cool. They hooked me up. It was an awesome experience. That's why I love getting beef from these guys. And the ranch that they get it from, the rancher that they get it from, he's like 100 years old. Dude's been doing it his entire life. He can look at a cow and be like, that one's gonna be ready next week. This one needs 2 more months. That one I'm probably just gonna auction off because it doesn't, he can tell by looking at the outside of an animal what the inside quality of the meat is gonna be. Super cool. What's up, Stinker? Can you put your pillow back in your room, please? Come on, girl. Go put your pillow in your room. No, not the pantry. Get out of here. Silly kids. Anyway, so now I'm gonna hump all this beef to the garage. We'll get it stocked up in the freezer. We'll show you what our freezer looks like and how we can facilitate all of this beef. And then I'm sure there's gonna be some overflow. And so we'll be shoving it in here. And then we have a garage fridge with just a normal size freezer as well. So to the garage. We've got most of the other boxes out here already. Just gonna pop this one here. Okay, let me show you real quick. This is what we have left. There's a couple, remember how we did, if you saw the other video, tons of those jalapeno burger patties and stuff? We had some of those floating in here, some of those links. We just shoved everything in that freezer. These are the full cuts that we have left. Remember I told you we don't really do brisket? There's brisket from May of 2024. There's a brisket from like September, August. Oh, 8, what is that, August? And here's another one from early 2024, May. We don't do a lot of brisket. This is a flat iron, and we've got one of the tomahawks. Other than that, this thing empty. So we'll shove everything in here. That way we know, let's use this first because it is the older stuff. But yeah, you can see like, these are some of those beef jalapeno patties. Some of them got messed up because I told the guy make them super thin. We'll barbecue those this summer for sure. I'm thinking We'll start with these because I just want to make sure the older tomahawk goes on top. What we found out last time was it's nice to have these crates because not everything stacks up super duper well. So we can utilize those crates. And then kind of the square cuts, like these carne asadas, like they're kind of good and rectangular. So I can shove them in here and kind of lean them up. That way they don't fall. Because you have to be conscious of the space that you're using up and how you're organizing everything. I try to keep the steaks together. Try to keep, well, we kind of have ground beef coming out of our ears, so we can't really just keep all the ground beef together, but I'll keep like the briskets together if we had some. Should be able to get like 2 rows of those. Gosh, there's so much of this. I don't know if we're gonna have room for all this. Definitely recommend though, unless you have one of those top load freezers, if you have one that opens up like this, get some of these because it makes it a lot easier to utilize all the vertical space that you have in your freezer. And you're gonna wanna have it before you get your beef, because otherwise you're gonna have to run off to Home Depot or their container store while some of your beef isn't fitting in your freezer. You don't wanna do that. All these New Yorks and ribeyes, I'm gonna kind of put these up here in this top crate, but like the chuck eye steak, it's not gonna make it. I'm just gonna keep that with like the sirloin because those are kind of the lesser quality steaks, if you will. So I'm gonna keep like the New Yorks and the ribeyes by themselves. Short ribs, I just kind of shove those wherever. I'll probably shove the fillets in the front if I don't have any more ribeyes. We are gonna have to use every inch of this freezer. What's up, stud? Just riding your sister's scooter around?
What do you think I am?
I think you're doing exactly what I said you're doing. And we're gonna get yelled at. That's just the way it is. You know what we'll do? Since my battery's dying and the fridge is beeping, we're gonna take a short break and then we'll just come back when this is all stocked up. Got the whole thing loaded up. Couple things inside, couple things in this one, but for the most part, we got all of it to fit in here. This is what it looks like. Every single cut is in this freezer and the majority of the ground beef. So I don't know the exact dimensions of this thing. If I find it out, I'll dump it in the description, but this is our freezer. It's about, I'm 6 foot tall, so it's almost, so if you guys are trying to size one, this will fit half a cow. Because if we didn't have the extra 75 pounds of ground beef, we would have been able to fit the whole entire half cow in here. So yeah, we've got carne, sirloin stuff, ground, like chuck and sirloin tip steaks, all the roasts, all the ground beef is at the bottom. I actually ended up cramming the tomahawks in up here because I needed some room. This is all like the nicer, better cuts, the fillets, the New Yorks, the ribeyes, and then kind of the cool stuff, the tri-tip, the picanha, the hanger, the skirt, like everything there's only one of, the beef ribs that they cut separately, that's all up top, and then everything else is ground. You've got ground brisket down at the bottom, and yeah, that's what it looks like. So let's head back inside. We'll go over cost, what it costs per pound, how much weight we got. We'll see what we can figure out in there. Here's the paperwork. So ground beef, $634 divided by, it was 75 pounds of ground beef. That's kind of more than I thought it was gonna be. Let me make sure I did the math right. 630 divided by 75 pounds. Okay, $8.46 a pound. I kind of thought it was gonna be a little bit cheaper. Maybe that's after taxes. I don't know. But you've got to think, if you're paying $5 a pound, let's call it, at Costco for some feedlot beef that they're injecting with all types of hormones, it's not local, it's from across the country. I'm about supporting local ranchers and local beef, especially more sustainably raised stuff that's raised cleaner on cleaner feed with no antibiotics. $8.46 a pound whatever. Like I just said, it's a little bit more than I thought it was, but that's what we pay. And then for the cuts and the ground that came from the half cow that we got was $3,023.50 divided by, it was a 502 pound hanging weight. The whole beef was 1,004 pounds. This is before they butchered it up. So there was some loss from bones and like trash stuff. What am I trying to say here? So I don't know exactly how many pounds of like actual meat we got, but it doesn't matter because you're paying for the hanging weight. So divided by 502, $6 a pound. Now that's really, really good, because if you go buy a good quality ribeye, a good quality New York steak, a tomahawk steak at the grocery store, you could be paying, dude, I've seen $20, $30, $35, $40 a pound. And for ground beef, like if you're buying it at Costco, it's $5 and something. So really you're paying $6 on average per pound of meat for the price of ground meat from the grocery store for really, really good quality cuts. That's not bad. So total for everything in our freezer, 502 pound hanging weight plus the 75 pounds of ground beef. Everything that you saw was $3,658.50, which is gonna last about a year. So divided by 12, $300 a month to have really good quality beef, and you're supporting local ranchers and local processors. So that's the deal. And then if you guys want to get a hold of Barstow Country Butchering or 5th Gen Meat Company, I'll put all their information in the description. If you're local to Southern California, Barstow Country Butchering is who you would hit up to actually come out and kill your animal. If you raise beef, if you raise lambs, pigs, chickens, anything like that. I don't know if they do chickens, but they'll come out, they'll kill it, they'll take it, they'll hang it, they'll process it. You can pick it up from them, or they may deliver it, since they're doing delivery now as of today to Southern California. But for home kill stuff, processing, they're who you want to hit up. And then 5th Gen Meat Company, same building, same business, just under a different name. If you're local to Southern California, they're in Apple Valley. On your way to the desert, the river, wherever you're going, they've got charcoal, they've got some produce, they've got knives, knife sharpeners, they've got every type of meat from every type of animal that you could imagine. They've got fresh seafood, shellfish, they've got like beef, bison, turkey, all different types of hot links, burger patties, anything like that. So that's a super rad place. That's where my extra ground beef came from, and then the half cow came from Barstow Country Butchering. I'm Taylor Thrasher. I will see you guys when I'm cutting some of this stuff up and cooking it.